Amy, the name of your book is The Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. And the battle in question you lay out pretty early on. It's a battle against decline. You describe the three generations, the immigrant generation, the first that are in, the first they have to work hard for everything. Their children get a little bit more. That's your generation.
That's my generation.
And then there's the third generation, which let me read this paragraph you write about this. The next generation, my children, is the one I spend nights lying awake worrying about. Because of the hard work of their parents and grandparents, this generation will be born into great comforts of the upper middle class. Even as the children, they will own many hardcover books, an almost criminal luxury from the point of view of immigrant parents. They will have wealthy friends who get paid for B+s. They may or may not attend private schools, but in either case, they will be expensive, brand new, brand name clothes. Finally, and most problematic, they will feel they have an individual right guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution and therefore be much more likely to disobey their parents and ignore career advice. In short, all factors point to this generation being headed straight for decline. And then you write, well, not on my watch.
Right. And it's intended to be somewhat comic, but yeah, that sums it up. It's actually, I do believe that. I was raised by extremely strict, but also extremely loving Chinese immigrant parents. And for me, sort of looking back, I complained a lot when I was little, but for me, looking back, their having high expectations for me, coupled with love, was the greatest gift they could give me, that anyone's given me. And so that's why, even though my husband is not Chinese, I decided that I wanted to raise my kids the strict, the same way my parents had raised me. And the book is, it's about many of the strengths that I see in this approach, but it's also about my mistakes. It's making fun of myself. And in the end, it gets much darker. It's about my having to pull back when my younger daughter rebelled. So it is not a how-to book. It is a memoir. It's about my own journey and struggle and sort of eventual transformation as a mother.
If you read the back of your book, it explains how to be a tiger mother. There's a long list of things you didn't allow your children to do, your two girls. Let me read a couple of them. They were never allowed to attend a sleepover, have a play date, be in a school play, complain about not being in a school play, watch TV or play computer games, choose their own extracurricular activities, get any grade less than an A, not be the #1 student in every subject except gym and drama, play any instrument other than the piano or violin, not play the piano or violin. When you hear that list read to you, does it sound extreme?
Well, it sounds tongue-in-cheek to me, but it doesn't sound so extreme. And you know, when I talk to a lot of immigrants or immigrants' kids, they find it hysterical. You know, they know that it's poking fun a little bit, but it really captures some truth. You know, I was talking to actually a newscaster who was half Nepalese, and she said I wasn't allowed sleepovers either. You know, and I had to get an A too. And in modern Western culture, it just sounds so harsh, like you're being cruel. But it's much more common than you would think. I mean, I think it's quite typical in immigrant families, but it's, you know, of immigrant families of a certain social class, usually immigrants who came over to be skilled workers or graduate students.
This has been such an interesting journey, I think, for you as a writer, because an article came out with an excerpt of your book in the Wall Street Journal, second week in January. And the title of it was Why Chinese Mothers Are Superior. It excerpted your book. First of all, did you know that that was the title of the article?
No, definitely not. I don't think Chinese mothers are superior. In fact, the cover of the book says this was supposed to be a story of why Chinese parents are better, but instead it's a story about a clash of cultures, a fleeting moment of glory, and how I was humbled by a 13-year-old.
Did you know which chapter they were going to excerpt? Did you approve that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I stand by my words. They're my words. It's an excerpt. As my mom taught me, take responsibility. You know, I mean, it's just that...
because the response, this thing caught fire and went around the internet. It was the most read on websites here, there. You are booked on television programs. And
it's been painful.
It got very, it's been painful?
It's been painful. It's been painful because with that title, it came to be seen as, oh, she thinks that her way is better and she wants everybody to do this. It's a how-to guide. But it's not a how-to guide. It's a memoir, and it's a memoir, as I say, about my own mistakes, my pulling back, and so that part has. I mean, I'm just glad the book finally came out. One of the problems is there was the excerpt, which again is my voice. I stand by that. But the point is that that voice changes, and at the end of the book, that's not what I think anymore. At least partly. It's not a full retreat. But so it's been, you know, it's been a little bit of a struggle to kind of say, hey, read the full book, you know.
Yeah. Why did you write this book?
I actually wrote this book in a moment of crisis. It's the opposite of a how-to book. Things went kind of smoothly till my second daughter turned 13. At 13, she completely rebelled, like other teenagers. And my sister also got very ill and had to have a bone marrow transplant. It was a dark period. But my daughter just turned against, it was as if everything I had ever stood for. We used to be very close. She said she hated the violin, she hated me, and I kept thinking, oh, I'm gonna stick with this. But it just got worse and worse. And we came to one disastrous spectacle where I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose her. And at that point, I thought, it's not worth it. I said, okay, we quit the violin. You know, and I stuck to it. I mean, she did quit. And it does hurt me because she was such a beautiful player. Not about achievement. I mean, it was just, she produced great beauty and she felt it. And after this one scene, I literally, the next day I got up, I went to my computer, and even though I have writer's block as an academic, I crank out 2 sentences a day, you know, this time the words just poured out. I mean, I wrote the entire book, except for the ending, in about 2 months. I mean, and I showed every page to my daughters, and we quibbled about what was accurate, and my husband, and it was basically like family therapy. So that's why I wrote it. You know, a little bit different question why I published it. I mean, I showed it to some people, and Western friends said, you know, I think people are really curious about this. You know, you're an unusual person, and a lot of immigrants have this. And some immigrant friends of mine said, oh, this is so funny, I relate to it, but you can't possibly publish this, you're going to get in trouble. And I thought, why should I get in trouble? I mean, it's you know, I raise my kids in a loving atmosphere. I can stand by it. You know, I mean, the only thing I care about in the end is not what other parents, I mean, it hurts a little, but it's just how my kids feel about me, you know, and that I won't know till years from now, but I feel my odds are good. I mean, we're very close. So I published it. I thought, you know, and it's obviously triggered a nerve.
Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother was written by Amy Chua. Thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts with us.
Thank you.